Okay, so the first thing to recognize is that secant is a reciprocal of cosine. So like I've had students actually draw out the cosine graph. That's a terrible looking cosine graph, but you could keep going if you want. And secant is a reciprocal of that. So that's where we get a graph that looks like this. So this is my graph of secant squared of x, and you'd have one, well, it'd actually be squared, so it'd be up here as well. But we have these bounds of negative pi over 2. Wait, negative pi over 4, excuse me. X equals negative pi over 4 and positive pi over 4. Those are vertical lines. And there's one more bound that they give you, and I don't know exactly where it is, but somewhere on here, y equals 2, because this value is 1, in case you didn't know. So we're looking for this area. So what the x values that they gave you were your bounds, negative pi over 4 to pi over 4. The upper function is y equals 2, and you want to subtract off the other function, secant squared of x dx. And I think from here, all you have to do is the antiderivative and plug in. I think I'm doing this right. Okay, so what's the antiderivative of 2? We'll attach an x to it, because remember, the derivative of this needs to equal 2. And in the same manner, I would just think of what derivative would give me secant squared, and that answer is tangent. The derivative of tangent is secant squared, so I'm good. From negative pi over 4 to positive pi over 4. So now we can plug in. We get 2 times pi over 4 minus tangent of pi over 4. And then minus 2 times negative pi over 4. You can plug in your lower bound. Minus tangent of negative pi over 4. So let's just look at a unit circle real quick. At pi over 4 is in the first quadrant, where the x and the y coordinate are the same. So if you do sine over cosine, because of the same values, you get 1. So this value equals 1. And what happens with this value? Well, now that just tells you that we're going into, clockwise. So it's a positive negative, but they're the same coordinates. So this value right here is negative 1. So what are we looking at? Well, 2 over 4 reduces to 1/2. So we're looking at pi over 2 minus 1 minus, well, this will turn this into plus pi over 2, same math, minus a negative there would be a plus, but when you distribute that in, it would be minus 1 again. So as I'm looking at this, if we add like terms, we get 2 pi over 2 minus 2. Should put equals in here, and then you can simplify that to just be pi minus 2. I'm happy with that answer.